This segment of the Sports Narrative Radio Show is brought to you by the Lone Star Outboard Racing Association. Mark your calendars for Labor Day weekend, September 4th, 5th, and 6th for the Shootout at Lake Jacksboro as boat racers battle for glory at speeds in excess of 90 miles per hour on a 3/4-mile course.
You are listening to the Sports Narrative Show. I'm your host, Jeff Bowers, alongside Dustin Copening, Darren Snopes Roden, Mr. Feltman, and our good friend and national champion, Mr. Dennis Burke. How you doing, my friend?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad. Not bad. I think you've had a little bit better time than I have. So, so tell me a little bit about how things went. Oh wait, I need to bring you on with
Well, last time I was here, we were talking about the race we're going to put on this weekend at Jacksboro, and we brought up the subject of the No Quarter Racing Team heading to Centralia, Illinois for the national championships.
Yeah, and that seemed to go pretty well, huh?
Yeah, we came back with a victory.
Woo-hoo!
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Team No Quarter, Gardner and myself, we put together 2 heats.
Yep.
Came up national champions.
Hey, that's not too shabby. Not too shabby. So, it was something where you had it planned out, had the strategy, executed the plan, and all worked out, huh?
Yeah. We well, my teammate, he puts together the motor and the boat and the setup and so forth, and he went out, paid attention to the race course and what some of the other drivers were doing with their rigs, and we came back into the pits and we discussed a little bit of strategy, and went out on the race course, and good Lord willing, we went out there, paid attention, had a better start on the first heat than the rest of the field, and won by attrition.
Hey, whatever works. That is awesome. So, do you think, and they talk about this, especially like in some other racing sport, NASCARs or whatever. Sometimes they say, the fastest car out there didn't necessarily win. Did you have the fastest boat that day, or did you just have the better plan?
Not even close.
Really?
No, I shouldn't say it quite that way. We work really hard. My teammate, he's one of the hardest working guys in the sport. Matter of fact, he would have loved to have been here tonight to share in this, but with the race coming this weekend, he's making sure that the motor is in top form for the weekend. And
does he drive, or does he just work on the motor?
He would like to drive, but he finds better enjoyment, more enjoyment in building the engine, and
he feels safer.
Yeah, well, no,
Let's be honest.
No, I'm sure he would love to trade places with me, but he's found his niche in building the engines for our team, and he's always given me a great power plant to run this season. We set our sights on finishing 3rd in the points this season, and so far we're currently in 3rd place in the points.
I was going to say, because you've got a chance to actually win, like you have a chance to have the most points on the season, correct? I mean, that's still a possibility.
No.
Oh well.
But there's only 2 races left.
Oh well.
I don't want to exaggerate. We've got 2 races left in the season this weekend here at Jacksboro, and next about 2 weeks, 19th and 20th of September, we'll be in Illinois. And with 2 races left in the season, if I won every heat, I'd still not have enough points to take over 2nd place.
But you got to hold off 3rd, right?
Got to hold 3rd. Got to hold 3rd. If I can continue to
drive
well and things stay together, we should maintain 3rd in points.
Hey, very nice. It puts you in the Champions League, and well, maybe not. I don't know.
So now, what class is it?
Anyway.
There you go.
What class is it you're racing in right now?
Just this season, I'm just running E-Hydro, Echo Hydro.
And how many classes are there for each race typically?
We're running somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12 classes a weekend.
Oh, wow.
Or day, actually.
So the lowest speed is 60 some odd miles an hour?
Low 60s, yes.
And you're in the
80 plus range.
And then the top end speed is
95 plus.
Yeah.
Which we're hoping to do next year.
Yeah, I was about to ask that. So you dominate this level. You're going to take a step up in weight class, as it were?
Well, no, actually, it's a step up in no weight. The faster class is the one class in our category that they don't have any weight restrictions. So if you want to run a 100-pound boat in a 100-mile-an-hour class and you got the nerve to do it,
God bless you.
You're gonna have to go slim down and get on the diet. Is that what's happening here?
Well, I have lost some weight since we met last time, and
looking good there.
I'm ambitious to do better next season.
You gonna go find you a jockey to like drive your boat?
Oh no, that's my pleasure. I'm wanting to be the man behind the wheel every chance I get.
So is it a new boat you'd have to get for that next class?
We've got the boat already. Yep.
Oh, he's ready.
Oh,
Yeah, no, they got plans in place. You got to, if you talk to this man, I mean, they've got plans to sell equipment and build equipment and everything. Actually, you were telling me a funny story about getting your boat prepped for that race in the national championship, and I want you to share a little bit about some of the things you deal with. Again, this is not in a sealed environment and perfect conditions.
You're talking about the time clock?
No, not the time clock. I'm talking about you had to go in and fix some stuff on the bottom of the boat.
Well, as with any craft made out of wood, things are going to move and flex and so forth and so on. And prior to the national event, want things to be the best they possibly can be. My teammate G, he takes care of the engine and does all of his magic that he does with the power plant. I took the boat home with me and started checking things out. Obviously, water is weight, so I filled the boat up like a bathtub and made sure that I could find every little leak and dribble that came out from every seam, crack, and crevice. Repaired those, and I also found a flaw in the original construction of the boat where half of the outside chine had a straight edge that was exposed, and the other half of the chine was smooth. So it was causing a handling problem in the turns.
Huh.
So I filled in the section that was a straight edge so that the water would flow off of the chine smoother, and the boat drove remarkably better.
Wow. So I wanted to ask you, because you were talking about, going out and watching some of the other racers and all that, how much is there spying, espionage? I mean, how much of that world goes on in this whole thing? I mean, are there inflated footballs? What's happening here?
Well, in our sport, in each category, the boats are so close in speed, and every little bit helps. And there's some drivers who have figured out how to make their boats turn better. Some have figured out how to get their motors to turn a little bit harder. So, you protect your secrets as much as possible, but over time they tend to trickle out and get spread around. And, But we've got our own little.
Yeah, you've had a couple of incidents where you've had to keep an eye on a few things. Some interesting scenarios that leave a little bit for explanation. You don't have to go into detail, but
and that's with I grew up as a teenager tractor pulling, and we had issues back then. So you wonder sometimes, did they, didn't they? Is it just a coincidence? Who knows? But we've able to bounce back from those who knows situations and compete very well this year, and looking forward to stepping it up for next year.
Very nice. Well, we're talking to Dennis Burke, national champion boat racer, who's getting ready for the Shootout at Lake Jacksboro this Labor Day weekend. So you mentioned the tractor pulls. Is that how you got into boat racing? Did you start racing go-karts as a kid? Did you shove kids over in your bike? What happened there?
It's maybe a little bit of an interesting story. I purchased a business many years ago, and I had a customer pull into my parking lot of my store, and he was towing these little boats like I race now. I say little boats, 10, 12 feet long. And I went out of the parking lot, marveled at them, and struck up a conversation with him, became friends, and just through casual conversation, I said, you know what, I'd like to have one of those just to play around with, on days off and so forth. And that's all I had to say. A couple of weeks later, he shows up in my front yard with a free boat.
Wow.
It needed
that's
a
a good way
TLC,
to get into it.
But once I got the repairs completed on it, and I went to a race to purchase parts for it, and once I got there, I said, well, shoot, I'm here. I'll help. So I volunteered to drive one of the pleasure boats that they used as a judging boat. And first class I got to watch was one of the fastest classes on the water, D Hydro at the time. And here I come. I'm seeing 12 of these boats coming into the first turn. And as soon as I saw this, I went, I got to do this.
Oh, and he was hooked.
I was hooked.
Yeah, and he was hooked.
He felt the need.
There you go.
Need for speed.
All right, so this is another question I had, and I thought about this after the last time. So when you're going into the turns, and you talked about the course is kind of an oval-shaped course, in a race car, of course, you want to let off the speed going into the turn and then accelerate through the turn. Is that the same in a boat, or is it kind of different?
Yes, with a hydroplane, the fastest you can go is get as much of your boat out of the water as possible, so you're riding on that cushion of air.
Right.
The drawback to that is you got to have something in friction with the water to turn. I mean, obviously, grabbing air doesn't work very well unless you're an airplane.
Or you have air brakes.
Exactly. So what you do is you slow down, let the boat settle into the water. As soon as you feel just a little bit of tug and drag on the boat, handful of steering wheel into the turn, and full throttle and force your way around. And then when you straighten out, then everything starts to lift again.
Very nice.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah,
it's good. You better.
I'm really looking forward to seeing you drive this weekend.
Yep. We do our best. I'm going to ask Feltman if he can pull his DSLR out and maybe get a little, I don't know what type of lens he has on that thing, but try and get some footage there and edit something together. You got a GoPro.
Yep.
That we're going to try and throw together. I'm going to try and have the Bluetooth on, so when we're on the air.
I need you to take the GoPro and just mount it to your forehead. Or facing you, just that like this the whole time.
No, I'll be into it.
Perfect. All right, so we do have the Shootout at Lake Jacksboro this weekend. Tell me what to expect. If I've never been to a boat race before, what am I looking at when I go to this thing?
You're going to get to see some of the most beautiful craftsmanship of vessels, boats, examples on the water today. We've got a show where we've got noise, speed, spray, thrills going into the turn. You get to see high competition, high speeds on a short course. This is a 5/8 mile course, which means it's going to be some close racing, deck to deck. Seeing, you're talking about 5 or 6 boats that are running 70 plus mile an hour, inches apart, going through the first turn. It's going to be some excitement. Hopefully we don't have any accidents, but when you're running hard and running fast, that tends to happen.
These things happen.
So they're loud. These boats are not quiet by any means of the imagination.
So if Mr. Feltman and I got out there in a paddle boat, that would be a bad idea. Is that what you're telling me?
Not good. No.
Okay. But scrap the paddle boat idea, Feltman.
Some of the interesting things about the places where you set these up at. Isn't there a basic rule that you guys aren't allowed to fire things up on Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
Until a certain time because you don't want to interrupt church, right?
That's correct. We got to respect the neighbors that we play with and play around. The class that I drive, E-Hydro, if you could imagine the 4-cylinder outboard motor that you have on your fishing boat, this 70 horsepower, if you could take everything off of that motor and expose the power head, then put 2 exhaust pipes that have 0 baffle, 0 muffle, nothing, just straight pipe out the back, and it's megaphoned so that it resonates it even louder.
You can put some glass packs on there, and just do
Don't
it up.
Don't need it, man. Those things are loud.
So, do you wear earplugs or headphones or anything like that?
Just the helmet just muffles the sound. Now, the guys that are in the back starting, to send me out on the race course, they've got the safety protection because, you're talking as soon as that motor fires, you're probably talking 180.
Yeah, you can lose some
decibels.
hearing easy.
Now, I was going to say, as fans, like you talk about with NASCAR events, and a lot of people don't know, you need, if you're getting anywhere close in a NASCAR event, you need to wear the earplugs. Do fans at this need to wear anything?
They're not close. I mean, once you're out on the race course, not on the water, you're a good 100, 150 feet away from the action. So, no, it won't hurt you at all.
It's loud and fun, and you can hear it and feel it, but it's not so loud that it's going to harm your little ones.
Why do they make them so loud? I mean, why don't they try to...
It's where the horsepower comes from.
There's not another way to quiet it down just a little?
There are expansion chambers that you can run on these motors, but they're not as effective and they don't make as much horsepower.
They need more air.
It's actually the resonance of the exhaust. It has to do with sound waves. You can muffle the pipes. I mean, as a matter of fact, the class we're going to run next year, the Super E's, has a muffler system on the end of it. It's not the stock exhaust system, but it is very similar. It's still loud, but it's quieter than the E-Class that we run.
Yeah. And this is an interesting thing, too, like we've seen with stock car racing, other racing. This is not necessarily a male-only sport. I mean, there will be several female racers out there with you as well, won't there?
Yeah. I'm presuming that Tara Cook will be there this weekend. Courtney Sanders may come. She drives C-Stock and C-Mod Hydro. Tara drives C-Stock, C-Mod Hydro. Olivia Schmidt from Oklahoma come down. She drives C-Stock Hydro. Most of the ladies currently are driving the C categories, but it's because of the weight. more closely, the boat weight and driver weight more closely equals out without having to have an
I was going to say, it has nothing to do with the nerves. I mean, the one that I emceed, there was a couple of interesting outcomes as far as trying to get ahead and cut in front, and there are rules against that.
Yeah. One of the young ladies we have on the race course, she's got a little quote that says on the side of her boat, "You just got passed by a girl."
Nice. So you don't let ladies first, like when you're getting up the start line, everybody stops and lets her go. And
Absolutely not.
That's good. That's good. All right. So speaking of females, I actually wanted to ask you this, and I meant to ask you this last time. Does your boat have a name?
No, it doesn't.
Really?
No, it doesn't.
Interesting.
You like sports narrative?
We put a sticker on there. We got him.
Good name.
It's a good name.
You know, the more I think about it, you know, there are boats out there that have names,
Right.
But you know, the Miss something or other, the Miss Sports Narrative, or the
that's
Miss
good.
Oklahoma, whatever.
Miss Sports Narrative.
It's good. I like it.
However we can
Yeah.
do it.
I
Probably the best one I can think of on the course belongs to one of the young ladies that races with us, Tara Cook, and she's got in big bold letters on the side of her boat, "Terrified."
There you go.
Beautiful.
That's pretty badass right
Beautiful.
there. That doesn't suck. All right. So, yeah, you could have one of those. And then what about the new boat? You think you're going to give it a name? You looking at that?
You know, we
Accepting sponsorship
my
deals?
teammate and I, we've not talked about that. I mean, we've talked about race number and colors, but the conversation of naming the craft hasn't come up yet. So, you know,
Sports narrative?
well, we might could
Work
work something
something
out
out,
with
yeah.
the sponsorship. You know,
I know. Look, they're no quarter racing. Call your boat 2 dimes and a nickel.
Done.
2 dimes and a nickel. There it is.
I'm speechless.
Because that's the worst thing he's ever heard in his whole life.
All right, Dennis. So about the event this weekend, when should people show up? What times? What do we got?
Racing
on the docket?
starts promptly at 12:30. Earlier, if we can get everything done with the drivers' meeting
On
and so
Saturday,
forth.
correct?
On Saturday, and Sunday racing should start at 1 o'clock. And both days racing will continue through 5 p.m. If we don't have any incidents and we can run the classes off quicker, it might end sooner than that. But 5 o'clock is the time that we've told the safety crews that we're done. We don't want to, you know, people got to have life. So
Yep,
5,
and
5
you're
o'clock.
supposed to have some nice weather out there.
Oh, it's
Should
gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice, especially on the lake, so it won't be too hot.
Yeah, 95 degrees, sunny, and just a light south breeze. It's
And the
gonna be
city-
fast water.
The city sets up concession stands and everything. I mean, so there's amenities. I mean, it's
There will be concessions on site. The city works with us to coordinate that sort of thing. And we've made an effort this year. Each year, this has been our third attempt at putting the race on. We're improving the concessions, improving the entertainment. We've got a new PA system, which Dustin will get the benefit of this
There you go.
this weekend.
Hear the dulcet tones of D-Cope.
yeah. They haven't upgraded the PA announcer yet, unfortunately.
Well,
But, you know,
we're working on that, efforting.
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, my teammate was wanting to be here tonight, but he's taking care of the power plant for the weekend, and I can't say enough how much his help has meant to this team and this effort this season.
Very cool.
And I wish he could have been here tonight, but just to give him a shout out.
Absolutely.
He, if it wasn't for him setting up the boat and taking care of the engine, I wouldn't have a place to drive.
Hey,
What's his name?
got to have that
Gardner.
engine man.
Gardner?
Gardner.
All
Yep.
right.
That's why I keep that guy on, because it puts us on the air, and then I can talk and
I've
yammer around.
watched
once in a while.
He's the mad
Oh
scientist.
yeah, he does everything. I'm just the face. It's all good.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Dennis. We look forward to it this weekend out there Saturday and Sunday, correct?
Absolutely.
Lake Jacksboro, the Shootout at Lake Jacksboro. So it should be a lot of fun. And if you don't know where that is, get on Jacksboro Highway, which is Highway 199 in Fort Worth, and drive.
Yep.
And eventually you will see a lake and turn off.
And if you get out there, and if you've been to watch the show and heard the show, come out and see me. Come to the No Quarter Racing tent, and we'll show you the boat we've been discussing. We'll
Perfect.
entertain you and
Very fan
introduce
friendly.
you to. Oh yeah, it's great.
Put some skis on and pull you behind it as he races.
Need earplugs though.
That would be he would definitely need that.
Perfect.
And a face mask.
Can we get that on
and a full
GoPro?
body
Can we have that?
suit and-
Yeah.
Hey, doesn't Jody have a drone that we can use?
Jody? Hi.
Excellent.
Drone time. Find more by subscribing to this channel and visiting us at www.thesportsnarrative.com. Join us every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central for a live edition of the Sports Narrative Radio Show hosted by Xena Communications.